Alright, what is up guys? Darsh here, and I'll be going over basic operators in Java. Operators are basically signs, or it's kind of hard to explain, but they're basically, add, divide, plus, minus, and all those types of things within Java. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to do those. So basically, we'll be going over four main operators. Those are arithmetic operators, relational operators, assignment operators, and logical operators. So let's get started with the first one, which is arithmetic operators. So basically, arithmetic operators are used to perform any mathematical operations inside Java. So let's just start out with two integers. These will be called int I and int I2. These will be assigned a value, so 50, and this will be 4. Right, oops, I forgot the semicolon for that. And the first thing we want to do is add these numbers up. So in order to add things up, you do the plus sign on your keyboard, and I2, and that should print out 54. And that is true. And we do minus, same thing, but we change the plus into a minus, and that should print out 46. Next thing we got our multiplication, which multiplies these two numbers, so we should get 200, and we get that. And dividing is when it gets kind of tricky. So Java does integer division when you have two integers, basically meaning it takes away any decimal places, just cuts that right off. So in this case, 50 divided by 4 is 12.5, right? So 12.5, in this case, when you do integer division, you just use the slash key. It'll return 12, right? And it does. And the reason for this is, like as I said, it takes out the decimals. So we want to have this as a double for decimals, right? So we want to cast this as, so just put two parentheses and put double inside that, and you get double. It becomes a double data type, right? And that should do 12.5. Yep. Okay, so the next arithmetic operators are modulus, and basically what that does is it gives you the remainder of two numbers. So in this case, we're doing 50 mod 4. So it finds the remainder between 50 and 4 when you divide those two numbers. In this case, it would be 2, right? And if we change this to a divisible number like 48, it'll return 0, right? And we'll change that back to 50. So in this case, it returns 2. Next one is incrementing and decrementing numbers. And the way this works, so in case I want to increment I2, I do I2 plus plus. And that basically adds, this is the same thing as doing the method I2 equals I2 plus 1. And remember, we're lazy, so we just want to do this instead of typing out this whole thing, right? It's more efficient. So you just do I2 plus plus, and that adds 1 to I2. And when you print out I2 now, it should print out 5, right? And it does. So, yeah, and then there is also minus minus, which does the same thing. In this case, I2 is already already 5. So minus minus will bring it back down to 4, but we want to minus one more time to get it down to 3, right? So you do it one more time, and it's 3. So these are basically all of our basic operators, or basic arithmetic operators, right? So we'll just call this arithmetic ops. And the next one we're going to be going over are relational operators, basically to see any relationship between two things. So relational ops. And then I'm going to comment all these out because they're kind of distracting, I guess. Whoops. And basically, comments, you just do 2// and these are code that doesn't run. So when it's inside a comment, Java will just skip them. In this case, these are bigger comments, so if you want to comment multiple lines, you open it with a / that opens it, and you close it with a close it with the */, and that'll just close it. Relational operators, so relational operators are basically, they return a Boolean. So when we print out a relational operator, it just says if it's true or false, right? So the first one we'll be talking about is to check if something is equal to or not. So in this case, we'll do I equal I2. In this case, 50 isn't equal to 4, so it'll return false, right? Yeah. And then there is also not equal to, and I isn't equal to I2, so 50 and 4, they're not equal to each other, so it'll return true. Next one is greater than or less than signs. So I is greater than I2, and that's true. And we do the exact opposite, which will return false, so I'm just going to write it down. And lastly, the other two are just greater than or equal to. In this case, it would return the same thing, but if we were to change these numbers to 4 and 4, it will return true, true. The last two are true, true, yeah. So those are all of our relational operators. So now let's go to our next one, which are logical operators. Or assignment operators, my bad. So basically when we assign, it's basically what we did up here, initializing something. But there are different things you can do to assign objects, right? So assign ops. So in this case, we have the normal one, which is int I equals 5. So that's a normal assignment operator. Another one is plus equal. And basically the way it works is, let's go back to our example earlier. So let's say let's create a new one. So let's call it I total. And that'll be these two added together, right? And since we are lazy, we want to do yeah, that's fine. That equals my bad. It would just be I plus equals I2. And effectively, this will be the same thing as doing, let's comment this out. This will be the same thing as saying I equals I plus I2. So it's very similar to the one that we did earlier, the plus plus stuff, except it does this. So it does this for every single type of operand, so all 4 of our types. So as we did in the arithmetic operator, so it does minus equals, times equals, divide equals, and modulus equals, right? And these will all do their own math stuff, so each one will return whatever we did up here. So I'm not gonna print it out, but yeah, just know that it does that. And last but not least, we have the logical operators. So this is where all the logic, I guess, comes. So logical ops. In these, what you do is, I'm just gonna comment these out. Okay. We'll just comment them out from here. Basically, logical operators, they basically check, if both things are true, or if 2 things are true or not. So in this case, we want to see if 2 conditions are true, right? So in this case, we want to check if in this case, let's go with our Now let's just create a new int, right? Int 5, or int num equals 5, right? And in this case, we want to see if num is equal to 5 and num is, alright, let's just do this, not equal to 5 and num is greater than 0, right? And when we go through this logically, we can see, so this means and, so two and signs means and. So the only way this statement can return true is if both statements are correct. Both sides of the and equation, I guess. So the program first checks this, right? So num is not equal to 5. Num is equal to 5. So this would be false. So when something is automatically false, Java will skip checking the other one and just return false. In our case, it does that, so false, right? On the other hand, however, if we do or, it checks if one of these things are true, right? So in this case, this one is false. Num is not equal to 5, so that's false for sure. But 5 is greater than 0, so that's true. So therefore, the next one, it will equal true, right? And also similarly to the and thing, if the first one is true, it automatically knows that this or statement is complete, so it goes to the next one. Next operators are nots, right? So just the opposite of something if you want. So in this case, we'll put parentheses over these. So we want to check this, and whatever that is, it's not that. So it returns the opposite. So in this case, it should return false, because since this thing returns true, but since it's not true, it does false. So those are the basic operators, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, guys, and in my next tutorial, I'll be doing more Java tutorials next, and peace out.